Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 5:34, and David Bowie with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
It is going to be, I'll tell you in 1 second. It's going to be, I don't know, nice today with like a high of 30. No, wait, high of 44, right? You tell me.
Okay, this is what I got.
All right.
I got a mix of sun and clouds this morning.
Okay.
Then turning mostly cloudy later in the day and a high of 46.
All right, well, so it's like spring is here. Already.
Almost like it's here. Like all that wintry stuff you see outside that gives you the illusion that it's still winter. It's going to feel like spring today with snow on the ground.
It's too bad I missed that big giant ice storm that we had last week.
You missed it?
I missed it. I miss it now.
Oh, it's the best. Hey, we got Scott Cohen coming up after 8 o'clock this morning. Lots to talk with him about. And other things, too.
We got plenty of other things to do.
Loads of stuff. It's Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 5:49 and Pink Floyd with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
It's going to be cloudy today with a high of 44. Tomorrow, more of the same with a high of 47. It's 30 right now in downtown Springfield.
Hollywood Trash is brought to you by Western Mass Masons. Call them for all your foundation and chimney needs.
Hang on a second here because we're having a little issue with some of this stuff. Let's see if it actually pulls up in front of me. It's the screen is loading.
Would you like me to do it instead?
Well, no, let me say no. I want to be able to do this on my own. You know? I should be able to do some of these things.
Yeah, I'm going to get you like a nice sticker to put in your fridge.
I think you're probably going to... Well, wait a second. Oh, here we go.
Here we go. How about that?
Somehow you still care about what's happening in Hollywood. So, from Tinseltown, 3,000 miles away, it's Steve Nagle's Hollywood Trash.
Is it time to start worrying about Justin Bieber? That's what people are asking after video surfaced of him acting strangely at a pop-up event for his wife Haley's skincare line.
Have we ever seen him not act strangely?
No, but you know what? If you're being dragged along to a skincare line unveiling, I'd probably be acting weird too. Fidgeting on a bench somewhere, waiting for her to come out of the dressing room. What man who hasn't been married or has kids have been to a TJ Maxx and waited outside on that little sad bench outside of the dressing room?
Listen, I went to 2 different Marshalls and a Home Goods over my vacation. It seems to me I'm willing to do anything.
In the video, Justin is talking to a fan, but he looks thin, and he's got sunglasses and a really wide, almost exaggerated grin on his face. He also keeps shifting his weight from one foot to another.
I do that.
This is what I'm telling you. He's just mad that he's at this event with his wife. He's also been seen in public recent weeks looking particularly gaunt and wearing strange outfits like bathrobes. All right, well, maybe there's a little concern there.
What's wrong with wearing a bathrobe out in public?
Because most people don't wear bathrobes in the middle of the day, especially out in public, especially if you have millions of dollars to wear something else.
Tell you what, next time we do a Rock 102 event, I'll wear my bathrobe.
Okay.
Just to show you that that's not an item of clothing that we should be embarrassed by.
Do you own a bathrobe?
Actually, I do.
Really?
I don't use it very often, but I have one.
I was gonna say I don't have a bathrobe. I find that to be pretentious.
I usually wear the bathrobe, smoke a pipe, sit by the pool while all the bunnies are hopping in and out of it, taking a dip.
Do you have a pencil-thin mustache with a two-tone Ricky Ricardo jacket and an autographed picture of Andy Devine?
In fact, I do. I think it's my own business.
A so-called source says Haley is deeply concerned for Justin, who doesn't seem to care about his own well-being anymore, and he's lost his motivation for making music. What motivation did he have for actually making music to begin with?
Didn't sound like he ever had the motivation.
But a rep for the Biebers says the opposite is true. Justin is in one of the best places he's ever been in his life, and he's not using hard drugs. He might be enjoying some of the devil's lettuce, though, as seen with Dave Chappelle over the weekend. So,
is that the worst thing the guy can do?
No, there are plenty of other things that would,
I think his music would be among the worst things he could do.
I was going to say. Hey, let's see. O.J. Simpson. Can we not stop talking about this guy?
Well, until we find the real killers, he's still going to be on our minds.
If you're ever facing an important decision, I feel like what would O.J. do would not be the best philosophy given to him right after the infamous white Bronco chase by his friend attorney Robert Kardashian. The executor of O.J.'s estate is planning an auction, and one of those items, I'm sorry, I skipped ahead a line. That didn't make sense.
Try it again.
The executor of O.J.'s estate is planning an auction, and one of the items that could be on the block is his Bible. It was given to him right after the infamous white Bronco chase by his friend and attorney Robert Kardashian.
It was the one book he never opened.
And it includes an inscription from him that says, O.J., this book will help. God loves you, and he will speak to you with his words. Read this book every day. God has a definite plan for your life. You are his child, and he will use you again. I love you, and God loves you.
Read this book, and God will forgive you from killing those two innocent people in cold blood.
Yeah. The auction is supposed to go down in March, but OJ's kids can file a legal objection, which would tie all of this up in court. I was just watching this morning one of the Norm Macdonald jokes about OJ on SNL.
Yeah.
And it was... in his latest book, O.J. said he would take a bullet or stand in front of a train for Nicole. What bad luck. The one guy that would die for you kills you. Taylor Swift is losing Instagram followers. Can you believe this?
I'm stunned.
Yeah, she's lost over 144,000 Instagram followers, according to a sports gaming site called Sports Millions. Taylor currently has 282 million followers, so she probably hardly even cares of a small chunk of 144,200.
Well, now that her boyfriend has ruined her career by losing the Super Bowl,
yeah,
you can see why people are bailing on that ship.
The same can't be said for Travis Kelce, though. He gained 12,000 followers since the Super Bowl. He currently has 6.7 million. But none of those followers are Taylor. She doesn't follow anybody, and he doesn't follow her. Can you imagine that? You don't even follow your own serious boyfriend that you've been dating for well over a year?
There should be at least one follow.
At least
in
one.
a serious relationship. Or maybe they got a private account that we don't even know about.
Yeah. Hey, how bad does your court case have to be that your lawyer wants to quit? One of Diddy's attorneys filed a motion to be removed from his legal team, and the circumstances seem a little dramatic. Tony Rico issued a statement saying, quote, although I have provided Sean Combs with a high level of legal representation expected by the court, under no circumstances can I continue to effectively serve as counsel for Combs, consistent with the American Bar Association's standards for criminal justice. He didn't get any more specific than that, but that under no circumstances thing really makes me want him to.
Your Honor, I would like to leave this case due to the fact that my client is guilty.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be the guy to try to argue that he's not.
Anyway, he's still got 5 other attorneys, so for now, we'll see how that works out for him. Can you imagine that? One of your attorneys, you know what? You're too much of a scum. A lawyer who wouldn't take money from someone?
From a reported billionaire. Doesn't want to take the money.
Listen, this is getting too much for me. I like money and all, but you're kind of a scumbag.
And I can't actually come up with anything that defends your activities.
Kim Kardashian was spotted on the beach in the Bahamas last week doing a soaking wet photo shoot in the water while wearing nearly nothing, and some are speculating it might be for an upcoming Skims collaboration with Nike.
She must have had something to say.
Oh my God, the last time my swoosh was this wet was when Ray J slurped the minge paste from my Hair Jordans in that sex tape you can purchase on YouPorn for $39.95. Did you ever have a pair of Hair Jordans?
Oh. No, I haven't.
People fight over that.
Just do it. Caitlin?
I never got that done and dirty with your mother, Chris Kim, but we once had a busy weekend full of comedy shows, so the easiest thing to catch was a few dirty movies in between.
Oh, what'd you see?
Well, first we watched the one where a bunch of strangers all meet on a dude ranch and get into some barebacking, and that was the comedy Slitty Lickers. Then it was time for the action thriller with Squirty Harry and Gangnam Force.
What else did you watch?
And finally, we wrap things up with one that takes place in the Outback, where he also French kisses her Australian style, which is down under. And that would be, you guessed it, Crocodile Spum D. That's not a wank. That's a wank. We need to bring back Paul Hogan.
Yeah, we really do.
What was his name? Wouldn't be Paul Hogan, though. What would it be? I don't know. Well, I'm a little tired. I can't figure it out.
No one's expecting much.
And that's your Hollywood trash on Rock 102. Oh, yeah.
What drives Holyoke Community?
To take that first step, visit
Bax's View from the Couch, brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware, Winter Storm Headquarters, before and after the storm.
Hey, good morning, sports fans. How the heck are you? Folks, today begins the 2025 NFL Scouting Combine, an annual event which prospective NFL draftees get to show off, run around, lift things, put them down, jump over stuff in a last-ditch effort to impress NFL scouts before the draft on April 24th. Now, no pressure or nothing, but if you perform well in the Combine, then perhaps you might jump up a few spots in the draft. But if you show up to the Combine and have a bad day, well, it can become the kind of thing that can destroy your life and squash your dreams and for both you and your family for many years to come. Having said that, players will be judged on a number of events such as the 40-yard dash, the bench press, and the vertical jump. Players will also endure other events as well. These include the broad jump, the 20-yard shuttle, and the 3-cone drill. Now, these things might help you in the draft, but I think we can all agree that almost none of these things are all that practical when it comes to playing professional football. Sure, you may have to run and jump over stuff, and yes, you will be lifting weights in the pros, but what about some of the more practical stuff you'll need for your career in the NFL? Like, what's the best way to conceal a drug test? Or how do you sneak a hooker out of your hotel room without breaking curfew on road trips? Or what sort of deduction should I use to minimize my adjusted gross income? And what sort of opportunities will there be for me to itemize? You're not going to hear about that kind of stuff during the NFL Combine, but maybe you should. I'm pretty sure there's a whole lot more veteran players in the NFL who are worried about filing their taxes and getting that hooker out of their hotel room than there are players worried about their broad jumping abilities or their effectiveness in the 3-cone drill. But show me a guy who can fake a random drug test, and I'll show you a guy who's ready to start playing in the NFL right away. But hey, enough of my yapping. Sports brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware. So your furnace has been working overtime, right? Well, you better change the filters because they get sloppy and messy. That's why you got to go to Rocky's for basic pleated air filters. Buy 3, get 1 free. Are the mice moving into your house? Mouse traps are on sale too at Rocky's. The stuff you need around the house is available right now at your neighborhood Rocky's Ace Hardware. I'm Bax. That's my view from the couch.
Rock 102.
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock at 6:11, and Brian Adams with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
It is going to be a mix of sun and clouds today with a high of 44. Tomorrow, even warmer with a high of 47. It's 30 in downtown Springfield.
Scott Cohen will be joining us after 7 o'clock. Today we'll be talking about all kinds of stuff in sports, and there's lots to talk about, so that's coming up in about an hour from now.
All right. Let me just, I'm doing this little text here. Taking care of some personal business.
TCB?
On the side. TCB.
Right.
How was your vacation?
Steve, you know what? I have to tell you, I love time off, and it's nothing personal. It's not against you or anybody else, but there's just something about not having to work.
Oh, it's my. I feel the same way, but it's definitely against you. I can't stand being in here.
Yeah, I can understand.
Once a quarter, we got to get away from each other.
Oh, no, listen, I totally get it. Yeah. I'm not everybody's cup of tea.
Right.
But then again, I'm also not the kind of guy who's going to sit here and just say, lie to you. I mean, I like my inactivity. I would say when it comes to relaxing, I'm almost overly aggressive with it. Like, I'm overly aggressive when it comes to relaxing. Oh. I would be violent about it, except that's almost too much activity for me. Like, I love just starting my day off when I damn well feel like it and ending my day when I damn well feel like it. And it makes me think, you know what? I'm only 2,393 days away, God forbid, from retiring from this godforsaken business. I see a week like this week, and I look towards the future. I'm saying, you know what? There's something so symbiotic about the idea of vacation and the idea of retirement. You just go, wow. I could really learn to like this.
Really looking forward to that retirement thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Well, you never know what could happen. You might not be able to retire.
When has that ever happened in this business where someone who was close to retirement was unable to retire due to any number of calamities?
Because, it's been known in this business that, we could walk up to the building tomorrow morning and says, sorry, closed for good. And nobody would ever even tell us.
Who do you think we are, on the border, for crying out loud?
Yeah, well, we're I know, on the border. That was a surprise. Actually, there was a woman that I talked to at the Shortstop show the other night. Her daughter actually quit on the border like the week before, and then they closed.
Talk about timing.
I guess things were getting a little tense over there.
People were losing their minds over that. Like online, they're like, I can't believe they're closing on the border. I used to go there years ago.
I never even thought it was a good Mexican restaurant.
I was seeing people say, I used to go there years ago. Okay, but maybe because you haven't been there in years is one of the reasons why they closed and didn't handle their roofing issues.
Did you remember that they were even there? When people say, I haven't been there in years, they probably don't remember that the place even existed until it closes.
It's so tucked into the corner on Riverdale Street, which, every business there is reasonably accessible, but it's always tucked and never really one of the first places I think of going when I want to go all the way to West Springfield to eat something.
But it was a popular place, though.
Yeah.
Amongst a certain at least group of people that had been very popular for a while. I remember always people going, yeah, we're going on the border for some margaritas. I never went there, but I think I ate there once. I think I had chips and salsa at the bar once.
Yeah.
That was it.
It has also been years since I stepped into On the Border. To me, it's always been like the Texas Roadhouse of Mexican food.
Well, ain't nobody stepping in there now.
Unless you're going to tear it down and rebuild it.
Yeah, unless you're turning it into a smash room when you get some sledgehammers and start you can't take this out this wall. It's a load-bearing wall. So anyway, go back to the vacation part. I was not going to be busy at all, and I didn't want to be busy after that snowstorm that we had.
Right.
That was it was more of the. It wasn't the snow. I can deal with snow.
It was all that ice.
And I cleared the driveway just fine with the snowblower, and then all of a sudden it started raining, and then that night it froze over. It was last Sunday night, and it froze over, and it turned it into a winter wonderland where you could probably be killed by a chunk of ice that's falling off the top of your house.
Now, did you fall?
I did not fall. Huh. I actually did pretty well.
That's good for you.
I'm trying to be more cognizant of my surroundings and things that I do to not go outside and not do things like that.
Progressive footsteps are actually an important part of life.
But it was that was very depressing. That was a very depressing, probably almost week. But I did go. I did do bow ties and big shots, which was a celebrity bartending thing over here at the East Village Tavern in East Longmeadow.
You're right.
On a Wednesday night, where I wore suspenders and a bow tie and jeans.
You look pretty sharp. You look like you look like you were either ready to park somebody's car or take their order.
Well, I said I looked like an accountant on Casual Jeans Friday. Because I was wearing jeans along with it.
Right.
And they raised quite a bit of money over there. That place was packed. And then I don't know how the dentist office across the street felt about everybody parking over there in that parking lot. But, I mean, the dentist office was closed. It was after 5 o'clock.
Oh, you're Dr. Vinny, the pediatric dentist.
Yeah, and his alarm was going off.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So, but people were still parking over there, and they were running out of room. But the bar was packed, and they had a good night, and there was all kinds of big shots there.
What was the charity?
It was Suit Up Springfield, the one where they try to get suits for people to go do job interviews and stuff like that. So that was a pretty successful event. And then I had the Shortstop show on Thursday, which went very well. we had this Anthony Sennhauser who closed out the show. Originally, it was going to be Mike Hanley a couple of weeks ago, but then the weather screwed everything up. I think people were worried about the weather happening again, but then nobody wanted a refund on the tickets because they're like, it's New England. It's going to snow. We're going to go out no matter what.
Plus, it's $20.
Right.
Yeah.
It's $20 for dinner and a show. So that went well. And then I wasn't even expecting to have work on the weekend. And there was a family emergency with one of the headliners at River down in the old brouhaha in Wethersfield. And I got to headline Friday and Saturday night down there.
So you did 3 shows?
4. I did, and then I got Mohegan Sun last night. I was down at Mohegan Sun.
Wow.
To close out the weekend.
You were a week ago saying, I'm doing nothing on vacation.
Yeah.
Now, all of a sudden, you're the busiest guy in the entire staff.
Which is nice because I wanted to get out and, keep practicing. That's the thing about this business. You got to keep practicing. And speaking of which, I got this microphone set up with a I don't know. It's not a tripod. It acts like a tripod, but it's more for vlogging and things like that.
Okay.
But you can set it up like a tripod so I can tape my shows down.
Oh, cool.
So I taped. I've been taping shows lately, and Saturday night I got to work with Pat Oates.
No kidding.
On Saturday at the River.
Oh, there you go.
And then and Brian Plum was also there.
Plum, Oates, and you.
Plum hosted the show. Pat Oates did the middle spot, and I headlined the show.
That's a hell of a show.
And yes, it was a hell of a show, and I wish I could go back and watch it, but when I went to go watch my performance afterwards, all I could hear was Pat Oates' voice talking crap to Brian Plum in the back of the room.
About your set?
A little bit about mine. And then I confronted him. It was so annoying. It was because you can, how Pat talks like this all the time. Blah, 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 blah.
Right.
He's like, oh, there he goes again. What the hell? He's doing that thing again. Oh, I'm doing something that you've seen a million times. I'm sorry. I didn't point out on your commentary during your spot that I've heard your stuff 100 times. And I confronted him about it, and because he clearly shut it off. He shut off the video because you can hear him say, "I didn't even know this thing was there," and then that was the end of the video.
He totally sabotaged.
He did sabotage.
Wow!
What a!
I thought he was your friend.
Yeah, well, I thought he was
an obscure acquaintance.
Well, some people, can act like they're buddy with you until you hear them talking crap about you on your own video. It was like a DVD commentary of my performance.
This is the director's cut.
Done by Pat Oates and Brian Plum. God bless his little heart. Who clearly didn't even want to listen to Pat Oates talking about whatever he was talking about, doesn't even say a word. You just hear, let's let the guy flap his mouth for a little bit longer until he realizes he's being recorded. But
so when you confronted him, what did he say?
He said, we didn't do anything. I didn't do anything to it. I didn't shut it off. And I was like, well... He goes, I knew it was there the whole time.
Okay.
And I said, okay, then why did you say I didn't even know this thing was there and then the video ends? That just, you're not really helping yourself when you're trying to lie about something like that when the events happen in that order. But I remember that.
Yeah.
I will remember that.
Put that in your bank and use it again.
And then last night at Mohegan Sun, that was a good night too.
Headlining?
No, I didn't headline last night. I did the middle spot and Howie Long, which is a guy he's out of Madison, Connecticut. Pretty funny guy though.
Didn't he play for the Raiders?
No, it's not that Howie Long.
You sure?
Yes, it's a different Howie Long.
Isn't he originally from like Millbury, Massachusetts?
No,
that Howie Long?
No, it's a different
Hall of Famer.
Yeah, it's always weird when you have somebody who's got the same name of somebody who is like, famous.
Yeah, and everybody goes, "Ooh, Howie Long's doing stand-up now."
No, I don't think
he was never that funny on Fox.
Well, look at Bob Marley, for God's sakes. Everybody thinks they're going. They're not. You think that every single person thinks they're going to see a comedian? Sometimes they're like, "Hey, play Three Little Birds." There's always somebody yelling that from the crowd.
I thought that guy died in the 80s. No,
Yeah.
he's going to die tonight at Mohegan Sun.
Hey, listen, I get up on stage and somebody starts yelling, "Hey, do some of those Dave Coombs bits."
The day that happens, you let me know.
Yeah, right.
It's 6:25 at Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Dan Brown will have the full forecast for you.
Hey, this week on Baxi's Musical Podcast, a repost of my interview with Frank Bello from Anthrax from back of November of 2021. It's one of my favorite interviews. This guy was absolutely awesome. And check that out. It's available on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, the Rock 102 YouTube channel, rock102.com, as well as on the Rock 102 app. And it's all brought to you by Metro, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. It should be on Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock.
You want to scare the living bejesus out of yourself, especially if you have kids. I watched that Gabby Petito documentary. Did you see that?
No, not yet.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. The girl who had gone across the country with the boyfriend and then she didn't come back.
Right.
But man, what a bunch of scumbags his parents were. By
I'm trying
covering up his tracks. They had gone out to do this cross country trip.
Right.
And then, the mother of her was like, "Hey, I haven't heard from you in a while. Are you okay?" And she kind of, gave her the benefit of the doubt, going, "Hey, you're out in the middle of these national parks somewhere, and you're always not going to be able to get a signal. I get it." But then, 3, 4, 5 days go by, and she's not hearing from the kid. And then 9 days later, they're like reaching out to the parents of this Brian Laundrie, and the mother shuts off the phone. She doesn't even his mother doesn't even respond. And then they even send cops over to their house where they're like, "No, we're not talking to anybody." And it was like, okay, well, your son clearly killed this girl.
That's good advice from your alleged attorney.
But as a parent and like seeing somebody so young like that, because I mean she was only 21 or 22 years old, but to me they look like children.
They are children.
Well, but that's what I mean. But you know how, like, I don't know, when I was in my 20s, you feel like you're an adult. You feel like you're a full-on adult.
And then when you're dealing with other adults, and you wonder, I wonder why they don't treat me like equals, because, well, you're not.
But man, if you really want to scare the living bejesus out of you, watch the Gabby Petito documentary on Netflix.
Something to consider.
And that was the joke of the day. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. You want to laugh?
Yes.
All right, let's laugh.
It's Bax and Nagle's Joke of the Day
I'm funny how? I mean funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you.
on Rock 102,
I make you laugh.
Springfield's Classic Rock.
So this guy, his girlfriend comes home from a night out, right?
Yeah.
And she says to the boyfriend, she goes, "Hey, don't get mad, but I made $100.25 by selling BJ's at the dive bar down the street." and he seems a little miffed, right?
Right.
And he goes, "All right, well, at least you got $100.25. By the way, who gave you the quarter?" And she goes, "What do you mean? They all did." You see? She was only charging a quarter at a time.
Man,
that's a lot of BJ's.
a busy beaver right there.
There you go.
Absolutely. Okay, there you go. That's the end of the joke.
Ta-da!
Here's your West
6:30 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. It's time for news brought to you by Yankee Home Improvement. Breaking news, homeowners are saving big on windows and showers. Call Yankee Home by Thursday and don't miss out. Here's local radio icon Steve Nagle.
Thanks, Bax. The Holyoke Fire Department and Mass State Police were on location on 991 North on Saturday after a deadly single-car crash. Law enforcement responded to the traffic accident on 991 North between Holyoke and Northampton on Saturday afternoon. The Mass State Police Media Relations Team Tim McGurk said the sole occupant of the vehicle died as a result of that crash. No further details have been reported at this time, and 22 News says they will provide you with updates as more information becomes available. I'm not really banking on that, though.
I wouldn't hold your breath, no.
No. You get I've been getting this like congestion thing. It seems like everybody's got this going around.
I feel like I got something brewing, but it's been brewing for weeks.
It's mild.
Yeah.
But it's not.
It's not a cold. It's not a flu. It's
yeah.
nothing like that.
I don't like it. I don't like it one bit.
I'm not crazy about it myself.
A woman from Westfield died Saturday morning due to a snowmobile accident in Vermont. The Chester Police Department said that at approximately 10:45 a.m. on Saturday, officers received a report from Chester, Vermont ambulance regarding a woman involved in a snowmobile accident on Goodrich Road. When the police arrived in that area, first responders had begun performing life-saving measures. Chester Fire Department was called to provide off-road emergency equipment, as well as Springfield, Vermont Fire Department for medical assistance. Despite emergency services' attempts to provide the victim with the best care, she passed away due to her injuries. The victim has been identified as 42-year-old Jessica Godish of Westfield. An investigation revealed that Godish was riding the snowmobile recreationally, lost control, crashing into a tree. She was not wearing a helmet while operating. Chester Public Safety offers condolences to the loved ones of the deceased during this time. The police department is currently investigating the details surrounding the crash. The city of East Hampton has announced that it will be issuing a parking ban today for snow removal operations.
Okay.
The parking ban will be in place for all side streets off Parsons Street from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. On Monday, February 24th. The East Hampton police said that vehicles parked on these streets during that time in which the parking ban is in effect will be towed at the owner's expense. So get off the street. What we got?
They're playing tough over there in East Hampton, aren't they?
Well,
Really playing hardball.
it was pretty nasty what we got that last Sunday and into Monday, where you couldn't even use a snowblower because the stuff was like so frozen at that point. It was just kind of like a big giant ice rink, and those snow mounds that they had pushed off to the side.
Mm-hmm.
They accumulate on the street. So now they have to go in, and now that it's melting, and with highs of 44 today, that's like a spring melt off.
And what is tomorrow? Tomorrow's even warmer. Tomorrow's like 51.
Yeah, tomorrow is 51. It's going to be nice out.
Now, because I've had some back issues recently, we didn't really clear off the driveway. So it was mostly ice, and we just, we found I got the last remaining bag of rock salt at Costco about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
There were 2 bags left, and I grabbed one, and it was ripped. So half the bag spilled all over the ground at Costco.
Okay.
I didn't get that one. I grabbed the other bag, which had no rip, and that was the one I took.
Why didn't you take the other bag and say, hey, I'll give you half of money for this because it's a ripped bag?
I wasn't really in the mood to haggle with the Costco employees.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, I grabbed that one remaining bag, and that's how I dealt with everything. But I still had, it still looked like an Olympic training facility at the bottom of my driveway. I was like Dan Jansen about to fall in the Olympics.
I got to tell you, when there's a seemingly a shortage of something, so all of a sudden there was these reports going, oh my God, we're all out of rock salt. There's been a big shortage of rock salt. Okay, so what gives you the right then to go and buy up all the bags of rock salt when you could spread the love and let some people get a bag? How many bags of rock salt do you need personally?
These are the same kind of people.
Yeah.
The people that hoarded the rock salt are the same kind of people that went to Costco and bought 30 dozen eggs at the same time.
Or toilet paper or whatever else
exactly.
with hand sanitizer and everything else.
Now, if your driveway is loaded with ice because you can't find rock salt and you're trying to bring 30 dozen eggs into your house, you're slipping all over the place. You're likely to drop a couple eggs along the way trying to get inside.
Yeah, but you got 30 dozen and you're going to sit there like like a king and eat all your eggs,
I guess,
one by one.
30 dozen eggs. Ain't nobody could eat 30 dozen eggs.
People are just a-holes. They really are. How much of something do you need? People don't understand that if you just buy one bag,
right,
as opposed to buying 10 bags.
Well, I think people were panicking because they're ice storms, and there's no salt, there's no sand. Some places are saying, hey, as a last resort, you can use cat litter. That'll work. That'll soak up a lot of the moisture, and you could chop away at it if you wanted. But a lot of people were really worried about getting out of their driveway. Hoarding it, though, is a different story. Hoarding it is you're denying everybody else an opportunity to use it. You shouldn't have to buy more than 2 bags at a time, at the most.
And frankly, with this storm, what are you going to do? The ice was so thick that if you took a bag of rock salt and spread it out on even a short driveway, it wouldn't have done anything anyway.
No, of course not.
So you kind of just naturally let it go over the course of a week, and you just salt the path that you're going to be walking from the car to the house in. That's all you need to do.
We were on vacation last week, so we didn't really get a chance to talk about this. But a lot of people were all bent out of shape about what a crappy job Springfield did clearing the roads.
Yeah, can you really blame the DPW?
Because we've dealt with this kind of thing before, and because Springfield has certain complications, especially when it comes to the secondary roads and getting those cleared, that's one thing. There were major roads that were barely touched for hours, and that was a little surprising. Like, some streets were pretty damn bad, and you would have expected the DPW would have responded faster.
Well,
now, again, I know there are reasons for this, but people were losing their minds over the idea that you had problems at Sumner Avenue and Page Boulevard and some major streets in town that were not cleared to people's satisfactions. But never mind the secondary streets, which typically take forever for the city to get to.
But I think because of that particular storm, it was kind of like that everywhere. Like, it really wasn't. It took a good 3 or 4 days for it to kind of clear everywhere.
Well, here's the challenge for a DPW. The same rock salt shortage has got you all flummoxed at your neighborhood retailer. It's the same rock salt shortage that they're dealing with too. It ain't just at the retail level. They have to be very careful with how they distribute rock salt because their supply is low as well.
I was waiting for Costco to come out and say, I'm sorry, we're all out of pink Himalayan sea salt because these idiots said. I mean, it will work.
Sure.
But, they sell it in much smaller bottles than they do an actual bag of rock salt. But I'm sure there were people out there buying that.
There's a Himalayan rock salt room in Palmer that you can go and sit in the Himalayan salt room.
Oh.
I didn't hear anybody taking bags of the Himalayan rock salt out of there to put on their driveways or their walkways.
Well, don't Palmer shouldn't let anybody know that they got that going on out there because then they're going to be pillaged of their resources.
I'm pretty sure the lady that works there isn't going to let you walk out of there with a bag of salt.
You don't know that. Look at these savages stealing all the rock salt from a Costco. They're like, wait a minute, there's a Himalayan salt room? We could be mining out there in Palmer. Could be.
It's like a silo of that stuff.
It is. There's a whole big silo of that stuff. Let's see. A woman called 911 last Sunday at 9:47 p.m. after a man. This is in Olympia, Washington. Let me just start over. How about that?
Okay.
Somebody in Olympia, Washington got 2 DUIs in 2 nights.
Wow.
Yeah.
Back to back.
Well, it's a punch card kind of thing. If you get enough DUIs, you get a free stay in jail for 5 years.
It's kind of like you get a free sandwich at Subway.
Well, it's like being that Marriott Bonvoy member. If you do it enough times, you'll get at least 25% off your next stay. Anyway, police were after crashing his car in the same spot twice. A woman called 911 last Sunday at 9:47 p.m. after the guy crashed into her parked car. She said he seemed drunk, and he was. A breathalyzer clocked him in at .31, which is almost 4 times the legal limit. Police arrested him the next day. Then a few hours later, he did it again in the same spot at the exact same time. That's pretty good.
I'll tell you what. They say lightning never strikes twice in the same place.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it does.
He should play those lottery numbers. 9:47 p.m.
Yeah, we're talking about incredible luck.
Police were dispatched to the same intersection at 9:47 p.m. The only difference was he didn't hit a car this time. He crashed into a tree stump in somebody's yard. And the same two cops arrested him after he blew a .3 again.
Oh, boy.
The judge upped his bail to $50,000, and the sheriff posted about it on Facebook. He says he's not sure duplicate crimes like that have ever happened in the history of modern policing.
Really?
To have the same exact set of circumstances 2 nights in a row from the same individual at the same exact time, blowing the same breathalyzer results.
I'm kind of surprised that's never happened before. We've certainly seen a bunch of multiple offenders in the past.
Yeah, but what are the chances of it happening? You've always heard about somebody getting picked up for a DUI, then they get released, and then they go out and get arrested again later in the day.
Right.
But the exact same circumstances, in the exact same place, at the exact same time.
Creature of habit.
It sounds like some Back to the Future shiznick going on over there is what that sounds
Probably
like.
go to the same bar at the same exact time. You got to be back by a certain time because you want to watch your show on Netflix or whatever.
Yeah.
And then boom, there you go.
Maybe he's a time traveler trying to change the course of time, but he keeps getting caught up at the bar. And at that very moment he's supposed to change his life, he gets in the accident.
Oddly enough, I wasn't even thinking that way. I'm glad you brought it up.
Well, I think in a way a pot smoker would think most of the time. I see the world through green-colored glasses. Your Pioneer Valley forecast today going to be a mix of sun and clouds with a high of 44. Tomorrow, more of the same with a high of 47. It is 29 right now in downtown Springfield. I'm Steve Nagle, and that's the news on Rock 102. Oh, yeah.
Springfield's Classic Rock at 6:51. And Elton John with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
It's going to be a mix of sun and clouds today with a high of 44. Tomorrow, more of the same with a high of 47. It's 29 right now in downtown Springfield.
Steve, as you know, every Thursday afternoon is a Thunderbird Thursday here on Rock 102. Turn it to Pat Thursday afternoon for your chance to win a pair of tickets to an upcoming Springfield Thunderbird hockey game with Pat. You're not going with Pat, but Pat will give you the tickets. It's Thunderbird Thursday with Pat on Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock.
You know, last week I took the kids, get them out of the house for the day. We went to Saratoga just to
race with the ponies or something?
No, I mean, that's closed, and all the fountains are frozen over, so it's not like you're enjoying the park in the winter weather. But, there were some stores out there. It was just really to take a drive. And
sure.
It's not that far from my house. It's only about an hour and 40 minutes or so. And I came back up. I went through Albany, but then I came back up to Route 2 to Route 7 and came down through Vermont. Beautiful country up there.
You're damn right.
Up that way. And luckily all the roads were pretty clear. I wasn't going to take the side roads. I took major highway, state highways in order to get back.
Which, by comparison, would seem like a side road down here, but that's a major thoroughfare up there.
But it still gets me. When you're driving through these places and you see these motels on the side of the road, and they're clearly motels that are used for like vacation season, people going skiing,
sure,
things like that. These aren't
siesta rate type of dumps.
Yeah, you're not hourly rate motels going on. But the advertisements on the signs, is HBO still a flex for a motel? Like, oh, we offer HBO. So what? You can get like all these things on a telephone, on a cellular phone now. You don't need. Why is that still part of the deal? As if, I'm sure back in the 80s and 90s, you'd be like, oh, wow, this place has HBO. I can't afford that at my regular house, but it comes with the room that I'm going to get.
Well, let's take, for example, I mean, I agree with you. It doesn't seem like much of a flex at all, but in Vermont and other areas that are a little remote, That's really all they got going.
I guess. I don't know.
They can't really offer you much more than free HBO and maybe Wi-Fi.
But even that's what I'm saying. But even Vermont has Wi-Fi. If you're in a location, obviously you're out in the middle of nowhere. You're probably gonna have a little bit harder time
offering
getting
free dial-up.
Yeah, hard enough time just getting cell service. But,
right.
But I'm talking about like these major routes that you're driving along. There's plenty of cell service there. There's plenty of there's Wi-Fi available. I just don't understand how that is drawing people in to book the hotel room.
I don't
as
really,
opposed to just, hey, are you tired? just pull on in.
I think it's like one of those things where there's probably somebody out there that if they don't see the sign that says free HBO, they're going to go up to the front desk when they're checking in. Is there free HBO here?
But that's what I'm getting at.
Will I be able to watch television shows on the TV?
Who out there is banking on the HBO part?
I don't know, but I'm sure there's somebody out there writing really bad Yelp reviews for the one hotel that's not offering free HBO.
Oh, my God. They had Showtime. Can you believe that? Every other respectable motor lodge in America is offering HBO, and these sons of bitches were offering Showtime.
What a waste of my AAA discounts.
Stars? I'm waiting for, the Amazon. Oh, we're offering Tubi here. That's when you know you're at a real crap hole. Yeah. And Freevee.
Yeah, that's a 2-star place, I know.
Yeah. You don't want to step foot in that place.
It's just about 6:56 on Rock 102.
And now, Bax's View from the Couch, brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware, Winter Storm Headquarters, before and after the storm.
Hey, good morning, sports fans. How the heck are you? Folks, since 1973, the New York Yankees have been in the World Series 12 different times, and during that 52-year span, the Yankees have won the World Series 7 times, and yet not once has a player in the New York Yankees uniform been allowed to throw his razors in the trash and celebrate with a 5 o'clock shadow. Since 1973, when George Steinbrenner bought the Yankees, players have been strictly prohibited from growing beards. Sure, you can have a mustache, but even that had to follow very strict mustache protocols or risk suffering the very severe consequences of those facial hair violations. It had been an institutional policy for better than half a century. That was until Friday, when managing general partner Hal Steinbrenner announced that effective this season, the 52-year-long no-beard policy would be revoked. According to Steinbrenner, quote, "It is the appropriate time to move beyond the familiar comfort of our former policy. And so, beards will now be permitted at Yankee Stadium. But don't be fooled, folks. The team has very strict set of rules regarding the length and grooming procedures of those beards. I mean, it's not like you're going to have the guys from ZZ Top out chasing fungos in the outfield. The reins have been loosened, though. Oddly enough, not everybody is happy with this idea. Johnny Damon, for example, who broke the hearts of Red Sox fans everywhere when he signed a free agent contract with the Yankees in 2006, was forced to shave his iconic Captain Caveman-length beard before joining the team. However, over the weekend, Damon said he's disappointed in the decision since it goes against a long-standing team tradition, one that he complied with for the next 4 seasons until they dumped him after refusing to extend his contract, which happens to be another glorious New York Yankees baseball tradition, one that I'm pretty sure the Steinbrenners are never going to give up on, no matter how many times they see a guy like Juan Soto walk out the door to play with a team that's less than 10 miles away. But hey, enough of my yapping. Sports brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware. Did somebody just say, someday I'm going to replace that sorry-looking, busted-up garbage can? Well, that someday is today. Go to Rocky's, get the extra tough, extra handsome Rubbermaid 32-gallon garbage can with wheels for only $27. You'll find it at your neighborhood Rocky's Ace Hardware. I'm Bax. That's my view from the couch.
Rock 102, Springfield's.
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock at 7:09 in Aerosmith with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
It's going to be a mix of sun and clouds today with a high of 45. Tomorrow, more of the same with a high of 47. It's 30 right now in downtown Springfield.
It seems like it's been forever since Scott Cohen was in this studio. But I don't know what happens when I was on vacation. For all I know, you're going to pop in your head in here every 5 minutes and talking to Dan.
I did not do that.
Really?
No. It's been a while, and I've missed you guys, and I hope I worked last week. You didn't. I hope you both had a nice vacation. But now you're back, so get to work.
It's almost time to start planning the next one. There's a lot to talk about here. Obviously, it's spring training is going on.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? You have to look when you look at what other teams have done around baseball in the off season. There are very few that have gone and changed things so dramatically like the Red Sox have. Yeah. I mean, they had a really good offseason.
They had a great offseason. No, can't argue with that at all, Bax.
And getting Bregman.
Yep, huge.
Huge. I mean, just to have that bat and to have a guy that can play multiple positions, because he'll say, I'll play anywhere.
Yep.
Which is great. But you hope that what they got is enough, because there's a lot of other really good teams in the league too. And I just don't know. I mean, I haven't felt this kind of optimism in a long time. Something that feels like optimism, but I don't know if I'm overextending my optimism.
Yeah, well, how about this? I mean, we can sit here and say honestly and truthfully that it feels completely different now than it did a year ago. I mean, remember last season, they didn't really do anything. And we were sitting there. All we were talking about was the young guys, right?
Yeah.
The young guys. And, hey, yeah, they'll be fun, quote unquote, fun, air quotes, fun to watch. And that nonsense only goes so far. Well, they have the young guys. They're a year older, and there's a handful of them that are going to make a big contribution this year. But then they went out and got Garrett Crochet, Walker Buehler, and then they got Bregman and Bud. And who knows? I mean, they may not be even done yet. They've made a financial and a personnel commitment to the team, and it's going to be must-see TV.
I would love to know how that conversation went.
Which one?
The one that convinced John Henry to start spending money. Because for the last couple of years now, you're talking 3 or 4 years, where he has let good players go because he didn't want to pay them.
Yep.
He has refused to go and get good players because they didn't want to pay them. And now he's realizing, I got to start paying money to make sure that this thing doesn't fall apart on me.
Right.
And there had to be some conversation that went on with John Henry to say, hey, look, you're in a desperate situation. You can't be a last place team again.
Nope.
We need to start looking at this wisely. And I think what they've done has been perfect.
Well, John Henry has the only thing bigger than John Henry's wallet probably is his ego, right? And that goes without saying. He's a professional sports team owner. I mean, he owns sports franchises all over the world. So you come back, into here in New England. He sees the Celtics winning an NBA championship. He sees the Patriots getting, a top 3 draft pick. He saw the Bruins last year doing really, really well. And so all of a sudden and then the Red Sox just lagging behind, where a handful of years ago, I mean, it hasn't been that long, where they were winning World Series championships.
Yeah.
His ego, finally got in the way in the right way, and he said, I don't want to be an also-ran. I want to have my team, grabbing headlines again. There's a big thing in New York with the New York Post and the New York Daily News. Those New York sports teams, they compete for that back page every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why the Yankees spend. That's why the Jets tried to spend. It was a disaster. Same thing with the Giants. But John Henry wants the top of the fold in the sports page. I think it was simple as that.
I don't think we've seen in a long, long time where the biggest sports story going on in the last week or so has been hockey. The four-nation face-off should be an embarrassment to every other sport that tries to put together some sort of all-star mid-season event. Because
wasn't that something?
You know what? It was like a healthy competition where the guys wanted to play. The best players in the league were out there playing. They weren't saying, I'm not going to participate.
I'm not going to go to the All-Star game this year. I need my rest. None of that.
But it also created something that you never, ever see, and that is an emotional connection of its fans.
Yep.
And a certain level of nationalism. When I first heard
nationalism, the last couple of weeks was a good thing.
Right. Now, this is I can't remember the last time where I felt like you saw anything that looked like effort or entertainment in the Major League Baseball All-Star Game.
Of course.
The NBA should be absolutely
Just
ashamed
a
of
joke.
itself.
Just terrible.
Because your best players don't show up
Yep.
and they don't participate.
Yep.
And, even the Pro Bowl is nothing more than a joke now. I mean, it's like Battle of the Network
It's
Stars.
flag football.
And in a flag football game. But it was hockey that decided, you know what? There's a way to make this important and compelling, and they just crushed it.
They crushed it. And I'll tell you what too. I don't. We're not in the business of giving a lot of credit to our president. But the whole you talked about the nationalism thing. It's not like it's not like it was Cleveland or New York or Boston. I mean it's a country, right?
Right.
And the United States and Canada has been the gold standard for hockey for our lifetime, and the United States is almost caught up to them, right there with them. So there was the nationalism, there was the competition, the level of competition between the two teams, even though there were four, but it's two. And then there was the whole thing with the, Canada being the 51st state and pissing off the Canadians, and Trump with his tariffs for Canada. Canada, threatening us with tariffs. It was just this. It was this conglomeration that led to something super positive. That was that USA Canada final game. I think there were like 16 million people watched in Canada. We had 9 million who watched in the United States. It's crazy.
Maybe arguably the biggest thing that's happened to hockey ever was that tournament. And simultaneously you got the NBA All-Star Weekend going on. And there's a lot going on during that whole weekend, but everything I've read about comparing the two events. Basketball for years has been trying to promote themselves as an international sport.
Yep.
Where was that idea with the NBA?
Right.
Why have they not figured that out? Why have they not figured out how to make their product interesting? Because there's a lot of criticism about the NBA this year being boring and 3-point shot heavy and all these things that are absolutely true.
Right.
I think it's payroll. I think it's you create a sense of pretentiousness among these guys who make millions and millions of dollars, and I'm not gonna go out there and play in a game like that. Whereas hockey, it's disproportionate to the rest of other major sports.
And and that's very true, Steve. You guys in the NBA just make all professional athletes make too much money, but they make so much more money that they're completely unrelatable. And you talk a hockey player literally during the regular season will sit there, get his eye gouged, and this isn't hyperbole. This is what they do. He'll get their eye gouged out, go into the locker room, literally a doctor will stitch them up.
Yeah.
And they come out and they play in the next period. People can get their arms around stuff like that. The NBA is very unrelatable. It's boring. The biggest star of NBA weekend was that kid from the G League, which is the NBA's AAA, who won the dunk contest again. Yeah. He was the biggest star, and he's played in like 2 NBA games his entire career.
I don't know if you saw the appearance that PK Subban had on ESPN.
Yeah, I did.
He brought up an amazing point, and he was absolutely right. Now, PK Subban, had a good hockey
great career.
Great career.
Yep, Canadian guy, played for the Canadiens.
But his point was, I think, really well put, that in the NBA, you have guys making top dollar, $50 million a year, more depending on whatever, plus endorsements. The NBA is a business. And in order to sustain that kind of business, you need to be willing to promote that business and with some level of pride, and with not just pride in the fact that you're making money, but pride in the fact that you are one of a very small fraction of people in the world that could play at this level.
Yep.
There needs to be some level of pride to say, I've been selected to the All-Star game of the NBA. The least I can do is show up and participate in this, because it's not just important for me personally, it's important for the game of basketball.
Right.
And they just simply don't do that.
They don't do that. And arguably one of the biggest things. I mean, remember when back in Larry Bird's day, when you had those guys, Larry Bird, Dr. J, right on down the line, they would sit there, they'd participate in the 3-point shot contest, and people love that. The Stars participated in the slam dunk contest. The Stars don't do that anymore. They can't be bothered. What he said was very, very true. And I don't know whether the NBA will ever be able to to grab the kind of attention that maybe they once did. It's big in other parts of the world, and we may not appreciate that. But here in the United States, there's a lot of competition again for that back sports page, and the NBA's not doing their part to get it.
But isn't it interesting though that so that level of personal philosophy has kind of trickled down even into the college level. So, for example, like in the college bowl games, how many players in the last couple of years, especially since NIL money is out there, and there's all kinds of,
they don't care.
Kids don't even show up and playing to the bowl games.
Yes,
I mean that's, to me, it's like, of course you should be playing in the bowl game. I mean
right.
that is almost as important as having a great appearance in a bowl game as it would be if you had a great combine. Even Shedeur Sanders isn't going to be in the combine.
He's not going to participate in the NFL combine. And granted, he's not the first guy to do that. But going back to the college bowl thing, dude, you allegedly played your whole season, gave your blood, sweat, and tears to earn your team a slot in that bowl game, and then you're like, you know what? I'm going to be a top 5 NFL draft pick. I'm just not going to go. It's terrible. It's terrible.
I think ultimately it's ruining sports.
Yep, and it shows there's consequences for that, and that's what we're talking about right now.
And so when you see a league actually do something that makes a lot of sense and they do it well, it's almost shocking that the four-nation face-off was as successful as it was.
Yep.
But then it shouldn't be as shocking because it was a well-thought-out idea.
It was well thought out, and one of the things, there was some criticisms that they didn't have enough. Like, the Czech Republic has great hockey players. Russia has obviously great hockey players. But with only 4 teams, they were able to have everything in the first round in Montreal, and then they were able to have everything in the second round in Boston. Whereas if they had 6 or 8 teams, it'd be fragmented. They'd be in Montreal, Boston, New York, maybe out in Chicago. They dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's. It was perfect. And we're talking about the NHL right now more than anything else, and that in itself is a huge win for the league.
All right, next week.
Yeah, hey, one quick thing. Speaking of hockey, Alex Ovechkin, he got a hat trick yesterday or over the weekend.
13 away?
13 goals shy of Wayne Gretzky's all-time record.
Unbelievable.
Yep. Wow. Couldn't they get done a little bit better than that?
Yeah. Hey, one step at a time, Steve.
13. So 13, you should have it done in like 2 or 3 games.
Yeah, you would think. Hopefully, keep your fingers crossed. We're pulling for him.
It's 7:23 with Bax and Nagle and Scott Cohen on Rock 102. It's 7:26 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Dan Brown's got the full forecast for you.
Let's see here. Rock 102 bringing you live performances from rock and roll's greatest artists this Saturday night, 9 o'clock. It's live in concert, brought to you by Randall's Farm and Greenhouse in Ludlow. This Saturday night's headliner is Foreigner, along with performances by Night Ranger, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and Def Leppard. Listen Saturday night, 9 o'clock, for live in concert from Randall's Farm and Greenhouse in Ludlow and Rock 102 Springfield's Classic Rock.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that.
Foreigner, the Chili Peppers, and Night Ranger.
Wow.
Sister Christian and everything.
Oh, man.
Motorhead.
You're making it move.
I'm sure I am.
Well, it gives you a little bit of action downtown.
What's not to be excited about? That's my feeling.
Earlier this month, there was some thieves who stole a backpack from a man in France, and his wallet was inside. Right. And they go to this corner store and they use this credit card to buy cigarettes and lottery scratch-off tickets. I guess this is a jurisdiction where you can buy lottery tickets with a credit card. But that's where things get interesting. The thieves won a huge jackpot on one of the scratch tickets.
Really?
Which was worth more than 500,000 American dollars. The cashier says they boasted about the win, and they were so excited they left without the smokes. Now, no one has come forward with the winning ticket yet, which makes sense because it was bought with a stolen credit card, and the thieves would essentially be turning themselves in if they tried to claim the prize. So the owner of the backpack went to the press and is offering them a deal. He's offering to split the winnings with them if they give him all his stuff back. He says he'll decline to press charges, and they would get the other half of the jackpot. It's a pretty sweet deal. Actually.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. The guy has a simple explanation. Without me, they would not have won. But without them, I would have never bought this ticket. I want to offer them the share of the winnings.
You know, if I were him, I would never make that kind of offer.
Why not?
Because I'm selfish.
Yeah, but is it one of those things where you offer that and then they come forward and you're like, I'm just kidding. I'm calling the cops.
Yeah.
As long as you get the ticket in your hand.
I guess. I don't know.
But they're on the clock. People only have 30 days from the date of purchase to claim their winnings. That's a pretty short
No
time.
kidding.
Yeah.
Here in the States, you got a full year, right?
Yeah, but they're just they're banking on you losing the ticket.
How much was the earnings?
$500,000.
Okay, well that's. I mean, I don't know what the exchange rate is from euros to U.S. dollars.
Well,
but,
I'm sure it's still a pretty significant amount of money, depending on
well, again, exchange rates being what they are, those can fluctuate pretty heavily.
Well, there's no exchange. It's just he's doing it in francs. I don't know who this Frank guy is, but I hear he's pretty nice.
Do they use francs or they use the euros in France?
I don't know. Do they use francs? You ever have franks and eggs?
Franks and beans, sure.
Franks and beans. No,
Yeah.
I'm talking about the hot sauce. Anyway, he's working with a lawyer who tells the thieves, quote, they risk nothing by coming forward, but technically it's unclear if they'd be able to take their share and just ride off into the sunset. Even if the guy doesn't press charges, prosecutors of the lottery might argue that the ticket should be voided completely, which is what I would imagine an agency of the government would do anyway.
That sounds more like their speed.
Yeah, like, oh, you know what? How about nobody gets?
What's the most arrogant decision the French could possibly make? Because that's what I would really expect out of them.
Yeah, who's going to throw up the white flag? Who's going to surrender?
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe the French government that checks it in.
And there's something, there is something wrong about giving $250,000 to somebody who stole from you to begin with.
I would have a problem with it, yeah.
But again, maybe it's like this Trojan horse thing. Like you're just inviting this person to come over and go, hey, I'll split the winnings with you if you give me my stuff back.
See, this is how paranoid I think I've become as an American.
Yeah.
How would this even be brought up to me? Because, I mean, are the cops telling me this? Am I getting an email? Am I getting a text?
Well, he's got a lawyer. He's got a lawyer that's involved with this whole thing.
See, I would still think it's a scam.
Yeah.
It'd be very hard to convince me that it's not a scam.
I know, but it just sounds so good to be true, doesn't it?
I know.
Yeah, and you can't help yourself because you are an American and you would take the deal.
Ultimately, yes, but I would think I'm getting scammed. But if it was, half $250,000, it might be worth the exploitation.
Oh, it's around $525K. Somebody, one of our French exchange experts on the Route 10 Tire listener line.
Well, thank you, Pierre.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
All right.
All right.
It's 7:31. News is next to Rock 102. 7:34 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. It's time for news. It's brought to you by Freedom Credit Union. Freedom is yours. Here's local radio icon Steve Nagle.
Thanks, Bax. Connecticut State Police arrested a Springfield woman on Friday for driving on the wrong side of the road in Hartford and operating a vehicle under the influence.
The influence of what?
I don't know, but is there any other way to operate a vehicle when you're driving on the wrong side of the road? Police said that around 2:17 a.m. on Friday, dispatchers received multiple 911 calls regarding a red Hyundai SUV driving the wrong direction on Route 5 and 15 and onto I-84 in Hartford. The vehicle reportedly was driving north in the southbound lanes of Route 5 and 15 and in east in the westbound lanes of I-84. Troopers arrived at the reported location but did not find the vehicle, assuming that the operator exited the highway or was now driving in the correct direction. State police then located the vehicle while driving along in the area of I-384 in Manchester. The vehicle was observed driving extremely slowly in the right shoulder before stopping in the area of exit 4. Troopers approached the vehicle and spoke with the operator, identified as 24-year-old Nyeza Battle of Springfield. Well, that's a battle she's not going to win.
No.
Battle said she was not from Connecticut and was following the GPS on her phone to drive from a location in Hartford to a residence also located in Hartford. Battle proceeded to explain that the Connecticut roadways are confusing with many potholes. It is kind of like driving in a different country down there. I was there over the weekend, and I can clearly see how a GPS might make you drive the wrong way, along with a 6-pack of Moosehead.
Moosehead.
Well, I just grabbed a random beer.
Yeah. But in spite of all this, okay, so let's say the GPS, like her ways took her the wrong way, and there were potholes. Yeah. Even in spite of all that, she got excellent highway mileage from that Hyundai.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, you can get their Consumer Reports rated high.
They're good on
gas.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of reliability. We'll be talking to Mike Quincy this week. We'll ask, hey, if you were going to drive on the opposite direction in a Hyundai, which one would you get? An Elantra? Which one would you think would be best to drive the wrong way on a highway?
Yeah, and this was the GPS on her phone. Had she been using the GPS inside the Hyundai, she would have gotten to her destination safely.
People discount the factory-installed navigation system.
Troopers observed slurred speech and a strong alcoholic odor coming from Battle's person. She smelled like booze, why don't they just say that? Battle's vehicle also had a flat tire on the front passenger side, as well as a large amount of mud on the side, which indicated she had driven off the road at one point. Is that what that means?
Or maybe she was right about the pothole.
That's true. Battle was asked to perform a standardized field sobriety test, which she then failed. She
did everything going the wrong way.
Yeah. She's a wrong way kind of gal.
That's right. When they asked her to walk the straight line, she went backwards.
It's opposite day. I don't know if you can claim that with the cops. You ever do that with your kid? It's opposite day.
Could you do the alphabet backwards and not sing it? Sure. I'll start with the letter A.
Yeah. Alphabet backwards, not stopping. She was in charge of operating a motor vehicle under the influence, reckless driving the wrong way on a limited access highway. She was released on $5,000 bond and is scheduled to appear at Manchester Superior Court on March 17th. Oh, St. Patrick's Day.
Now, how's she getting there? Is she driving herself?
I don't know if she's allowed to drive herself. I don't know how that works in Connecticut. Do they take your license away?
I don't know.
She went through the field sobriety test. Do they take your license away right away in Connecticut?
If she parks in the courthouse parking lot, should she park backwards or forwards in the space?
Probably backwards.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't know.
My whole life has been in reverse. I was born a 76-year-old woman.
Today I'm a 23-year-old.
Right.
I'm a 23-year-old grandma.
Doctors revealed Sunday that blood tests. Actually, you know what? Go back to the traffic on 91. I'm coming home Friday night, and I'm driving through Hartford, and I don't even know how this person doesn't get immediately pulled over, because I believe there are certain things on your car and your vehicle that need to be up to a certain code. The tail lights on this vehicle looked exactly like headlights, and they were clear white lights. Isn't there a rule about that you have to have red lights as brake lights and marker lights on your car, or yellow or whatever?
That's a good question. I don't know the law well enough to say, but I would assume so.
This guy drove from I got on 91 in like downtown Hartford area from Route 2.
Right.
And this guy was driving I followed him all the way to like Warehouse Point, so it was pretty significant distance this guy was driving. Or I say guy, I don't know who was behind the wheel. Could have been this lady. Maybe it was this lady's. Maybe I ran into her.
Maybe she wasn't going the wrong way. Maybe you were going the wrong way.
It definitely, and that's the thing. It looked like if you were to come up behind this person, it would look like the car is driving at you.
Right.
So I don't even know how that was even legal. And you go that far and no cop sees you? Like, I don't understand that. I mean, you stick out like a sore thumb. It's not like having an expired inspection sticker. I get that part. You wouldn't be able to see that at night. But, I mean, a car with headlight-looking things as taillights.
I know, but, sometimes, it's possible that the cop sees the car approaching, but doesn't bother looking as the car is driving away and may not even see those lights.
That's just super weird.
It is weird.
Yeah. Doctors revealed Sunday that blood tests for Pope Francis, the 88-year-old pontiff who has been hospitalized since Valentine's Day after a week-long bout of bronchitis, has worsened, showing early kidney failure. Every day, roughly 360 people in the U.S. begin. Why are they talking about this?
Because I think they're afraid that the Pope may die. And
no, but they're going into an explanation about kidney failure.
Yes.
A patient is considered to be experiencing kidney failure if under 15% of their kidney is working normally. Some of Pope Francis's blood tests showed initial mild kidney failure, but doctors said it was under control. The Vatican did not provide any details about Pope Francis's condition or what treatment, if any, he was receiving for his kidney failure.
Well, it is the Lenten season.
Is pre-existing conditions part of divine intervention?
Maybe.
Do they cover that?
Well, I mean, I know Lazarus got better.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't doing so hot, and all of a sudden, boom, Jesus comes in, he starts dancing a little jig.
He was back to normal in no time.
Yes.
So anyway, the Pope is he's not doing so well.
Not so great. But he's an old guy. I mean, he's
88's pretty good.
88. I mean, he's nearly 90. I mean, he's got a job that eats up a lot of his time.
Yeah.
He's got a very busy schedule.
Luigi Mangione, the 26-year-old man accused of gunning down United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in front of a New York City hotel, appeared in court on Friday for the first time since he was arraigned back in December on state murder and terror charges. Mangione, who has pleaded not guilty, entered the Manhattan courtroom with shackles on his hands and feet. He wore a bulletproof vest over a green sweater, a white shirt, and khaki pants.
And rocked all of it.
Well, he's popular with the ladies.
He's a good-looking psychopath.
Yeah. I heard a comedian refer to him as having sea abs.
Sea abs?
Where you just have abs and it goes right to the sea. Like there's no... like this guy should be more... He doesn't really have concerns.
Right.
He shouldn't really have concerns when you have abs like that go right to the sea. They blend in.
Gotcha.
Judge Gregory Caro denied a request to remove the shackles submitted by Mangione's jail consultant. Prosecutors started the hearing by listing evidence they have so far sent over to Mangione's lawyer, including body camera footage and medical examiner forensic files. Karen Friedman, his lead attorney, says her team still needed more materials from prosecutors. She made a great point about afterwards, talking to the media during this thing. There's already a documentary about this guy on HBO, and all of these New York detectives and all of these officials are detailing evidence, which I'm like, how is this not a mistrial when you're presenting evidence that you haven't even presented to a court yet?
How do you impanel a jury when this is coming out?
That's what I'm talking about. I mean, how do you complete a case by going to the media and telling everybody all of the things you found on this guy? You shouldn't be I mean, you can name items that you found,
right?
But to detail them, what that evidence is, you're almost like doing this to yourself, that you're tainting the investigation.
So what's the rush? Okay, I understand it's a big news story, but what's the rush to even have a documentary before a trial happens?
I mean, you're asking a media company is going to want to put out as much stuff as they want, in order to get people to watch their channel or whatever. But
on the other hand, if you've got, say, cops and detectives that are involved in this and they may be compelled to testify in a trial,
how is that not going to be used in the trial going, hey, these guys were already talking about all this evidence beforehand. You're tainting the entire case. I mean, for all the pomp and stuff that they've given this one guy who killed one other guy, the guy's in shackles. He's in, you would have thought that he was the Boston Marathon bomber, the way they treat the guy.
Right.
Because how many other murderers get treated like that?
I don't know, but
But my point being is that why would you try to ruin the investigation by before a trial, before evidence has even been presented?
Well, I mean, I'm sure they weren't thinking, hey, how can we screw up this trial? I think a lot of them are thinking, well, it's the people's right to know. We need to get this information out. It's a big, top story.
I don't know about that because, I mean, again, if I use the Boston Marathon bomber, those guys were pretty tight-lipped about what they found in the materials because you're ruining the case if you do talk about that stuff. And here they are. You would think seasoned police officers and officials would be like, yeah, we're not talking about this until at least there's a trial in progress.
It took time with the Tsarnaev brothers to figure out whether these guys were lone wolves or whether they were attached to some other
that's what I'm talking.
Terror organization. And I don't know why you're right. I don't know why that applies to them, but wouldn't apply to Mangione. I mean, we don't know enough about what he's done or what he hasn't done, what his connections are. It's still early to tell.
The whole thing seems a little weird, and I don't know why you'd do that to ruin the case. I mean, I'm sure his lawyer is going to be like, these people were already talking about all of the evidence in a nationally a case that's gotten national attention.
But it's got a lot of attention, I think, for a lot of the wrong reasons too. Because when Thompson was shot and killed, there were a lot of people who felt, well, he had it coming. He deserved to get shot. And there were many people who said, no, even if I disagreed with what he did for a living or the business practices this guy had, he didn't deserve to get killed over it. And so you had a lot of people kind of throwing different philosophies about whether this is justified or unjustified, whether this guy is a hero or not a hero. It seems to me that this is kind of a different case in a lot of ways.
Yeah, but aside from that,
but that's
you have evidence that you have collected.
I agree. I mean, you're putting a trial at risk by allowing some of that stuff to get out into the media.
A lot of it. It's not just a little bit of it. They were detailing the diary that they found and all of the things that he was writing in there. That just seemingly doesn't seem like something you would want to put out to the forefront
pre-trial.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I do think some people have a different set of priorities in this case that would not necessarily have been the same in the marathon bombing or anywhere else for that matter.
Because I think if you look at it as the mission, if you will, that the Boston Marathon bombing is radical terrorists who have ill feelings against America and all that other stuff. Now you have a guy who is on a pet. I mean, he doesn't have to worry about legal bills. He's got enough money that people have raised via crowd fund.
Right.
Where, not
but if you're in support of what he did, if you're one of those people that you feel like if you're one of these people that feels as though this was a justifiable act, then the thing you want the most is for him to be exonerated, and a mistrial would give him the best chance of that. But it's like, but see, that shows a level of bias in this case that may not be evident in a lot of others, because I think some people have kind of lost sight here that this was a murder, and not just the guy killed a pharmaceutical CEO. It's a murder, and there's a big difference. I mean, you and I had the discussion when it happened. It's like there's a lot of people that see it in different ways, and not just that a guy killed a guy.
But what I'm saying is, at this point, why, if you really want to convict somebody of a crime, then you wouldn't be releasing all of that information beforehand,
unless there's a certain bias of the filmmakers that don't want him to be convicted.
No, these were cops and detectives talking about things.
I understand that. I don't know. I don't know why they would have agreed to do that.
I don't know. It's going to be. It's going to be interesting, though. Your Pioneer Valley forecast today is going to be a mix of sun and clouds with a high of 45. Tomorrow, more of the same with a high of 47. It's 31 right now in downtown Springfield. I'm Steve Nagle, and that's the news on Rock 102. Oh, yeah.
What? Health practice.
It's 7:53 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Going to be, I just gave you the forecast, 31 right now in downtown Springfield.
Tomorrow on the show, Sheriff Nick Kochi will be joining us in the studio. We'll be hanging with him. We'll be asking questions. Apparently, nothing is off limits. So we'll talk about some things.
Yes, he's going to talk about this lady driving the wrong way down the highway down in Connecticut.
I'm sure he's got lots to say.
And he's going to talk about Luigi Mangione, too.
Yeah, right. Of course.
Stuff too.
Yeah.
There's a college kid in China who's making headlines after he accidentally started a fire in his dorm room while trying to hide his sex doll from a roommate. Oh.
Okay.
He had his inflatable girlfriend out when his roommate came home, apparently. It's not clear if he was in the middle of a love session, but he snuck her out into the hallway and tried to destroy the evidence by setting her on fire. All right. The hallway filled with smoke set off an alarm, so instead of his roommate finding out, everyone did. A security guard called the fire department. Luckily, no one was hurt, and it didn't cause a ton of damage, except to this kid's reputation. Like, everybody knows now that you were doing something nasty with a doll. I mean, obviously, dolls are for sale because many people use them, but nobody really wants everybody to know that you were using that doll. That's something you should be doing in private.
Now, this guy had a roommate, right?
Yeah.
So everybody did know.
They already knew ahead of time.
You gotta believe that if your college roommate,
he's totally got a sex doll.
You're not gonna believe this, but my roommate has got a sex doll, and he uses it.
I smelled all this rubber one time, and I looked under his bed, and there she was.
There was a lot of static all over her, so he rubbed his head all over it and stuck her to the wall.
Now this guy's never getting laid, though.
Never.
Yeah.
He's going to have to transfer to a state school.
Yeah, you're going to have to go. Well, I don't know how it works in China, but you're going to have to go to a different school. You imagine that, having that on your reputation, too? You go for a job one day. Let's see. What were your extracurricular activities?
I was part of the math club. Yeah. Let's see. I was from the Young Democrats. And, by the way, I also had a sex doll.
Yes, that I tried to light on fire that caused a blaze. And ipso fatso, everybody found out that I was doing it with the doll.
Now, why did you set the doll on fire? She just wouldn't listen.
It's a horrible world when you can't love somebody and tell everybody about it. I mean, this guy was probably in love.
Yeah, right. Well,
and to have to sacrifice his own girlfriend for the sake of not finding out about the relationship.
There are other ways of breaking up than setting a big pile of rubber on fire.
How? What?
Actually agreeing to see other people, deflating it, maybe walking away.
Yeah.
Maybe start seeing other people.
Let the air out. You can also pop it very quickly. All it takes is one little prick.
Okay. There you go.
Just one little prick.
That's all it takes.
There you go. That's all I got. I got nothing else.
It's 7:56 on Rock 102.
And now, Bax's View from the Couch. Brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware. Winter Storm Headquarters. Before and after the storm.
Hey, good morning, sports fans. How the heck are you? Folks, today begins the 2025 NFL Scouting Combine, the annual event in which prospective NFL draftees get to show off, run around, lift things, put them down, and jump over stuff in a last-ditch effort to impress NFL scouts before the draft on April 24th. No pressure or nothing, but if you perform well in the Combine, then perhaps you might jump up a few spots in the draft. But if you show up to the Combine and have a bad day, well, it can become the kind of thing that could destroy your life and squash your hopes and dreams for both you and your family for many years to come. Having said that, players will be judged at a number of events such as the 40-yard dash, the bench press, and the vertical jump. Players will also endure other events as well. These include the broad jump, the 20-yard shuttle, and the 3-cone drill. Now, these things might help you in the draft, but I think we can all agree that almost none of these things are all that practical when it comes to playing actual football. Sure, you may have to be able to run and jump over stuff, and yes, you will be lifting weights in the pros, but what about some of the more practical stuff you'll need for your career in the NFL, like what's the best way to conceal a drug test, or how to sneak a hooker out of your hotel room without breaking curfew on road trips, or what sort of deduction should I use to minimize my adjusted gross income, and what sort of opportunities will there be for me to itemize? You're not going to hear about that stuff during the NFL Combine, but maybe you should, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of veteran players in the NFL who are more worried about filing their taxes and getting that hooker out of their room than there are players worrying about broad jumping abilities or the effectiveness of the 3-cone drill. But show me a guy who can fake a random drug test, I'll show you a guy who's ready to start playing in the NFL right away. But hey, enough of my yapping. Sports brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware. Your furnace has been working overtime during all this cold. Better change those filters. Go to Rocky's, get basic pleated air filters. Buy 3, get 1 free. Available now at your neighborhood Rocky's Ace Hardware. I'm Bax. That's my view from the couch.
Rock 102, Springfield's classic rock.
102 Springfield's classic rock. It's 8:09. And Whitesnake with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
It's going to be a mix of sun and clouds today with a high of 45. Tomorrow, more of the same with a high of 47. It does feel very spring-like out there right now. Like it's got that spring smell coming your way.
But it's only 31 degrees, so it's not quite like spring, but more spring than we're used to.
Well, it's going to be in the 40s all week, for a high. And that's going to melt away all this, Jack Frost bullshiznit that we've been dealing with for the last couple of weeks. It was just awful last week.
Yeah, it was
with that freeze over. But here's a thing that I've been staying inside. I've been staying inside a lot. There's not really much to do outside,
right?
So to speak. And I've been watching. I moved my Peloton to a room where I can now watch TV while I'm doing it.
It wasn't there before?
There was no TV there.
Ooh.
What?
How boring.
Not boring. You're watching hot chicks in spandex work out.
Hot chicks in spandex.
I told you,
thousands of miles away, and that you have no chance at.
I told you, friends come over and they're like, "Wow, it's a lot of sweat on that screen," and I'm like, "That's not sweat." That's
good.
That's cleanup time. But no, you get bored. I get bored. I was getting bored listening to yapping thing. So I got these other workouts that I'm doing on there.
Okay.
But I don't want to listen to the thing. I know what I'm doing, and I know, what. I don't need somebody to instruct me on what to do. But now I've moved the Peloton into this room where I can watch TV now. And in the last month, I've watched the entire series of The Sopranos over again.
Oh, awesome.
And that's the thing, and here's a thing you can chime in on if you want, 293-1021. What's the most epic TV series you've ever watched and you would recommend to anybody? Because now I'm getting into, you make fun of me because I never saw Breaking Bad. I haven't seen that yet.
Right.
And it was only because I have little kids in the house. There wasn't a lot of time as a single dad to be sitting around watching shows about meth being made.
Yeah, it's not. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a family friendly show with youngsters in the house.
Listen, gone are the days when my mom and I used to sit down and watch movies like Blue Velvet or I mean,
Caligula.
that was a good mother-son movie.
I love Caligula.
But I'm into watching The Sopranos again, and I'm seeing a lot of things that I missed. Because it's been almost 20 years since I watched the show, and rewatching it again, it was like, wow, I forgot about this part.
There are very few series that I say I want to watch that all over again.
Yeah,
Sopranos is definitely one of them. But during COVID, I watched Breaking Bad a second time.
Yeah.
And then started watching Better Call Saul.
See, I'm going to have to start watching
I'm
that.
telling you, as much as I love The Sopranos, and I really, truly do, to me, this is in its entirety, because you really kind of have to watch the entire arc of Walter White. This is as good as The Sopranos.
All right. Well,
It's that perfect.
He's starting that soon. Let's see what other people have to say.
All right. Rock 102. Good morning. Who's this?
Hi, Adam from Springfield.
Hey,
What's up, man?
Hey, so I'm just chiming in with the most epic series ever.
Yeah.
So my experience was, you know how everybody says in Game of Thrones, you just kind of push through the first few episodes?
Yeah.
But when I finally did that and I actually sat down, I was hooked after the first season. I had no idea what was going on until season 6, but, I just wanted to chime in with, I just want to chime in with that. Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks, man.
That's a good point. I tried watching Game of Thrones. I think I got like 6 into it, and I'm like, nah, I'm not.
You can't really.
I'm not connecting with this at all.
Into it, yeah. Well, I mean, you have to be interested in somewhat of the topic. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I really want to sit down and watch a series about, hierarchies and monarchies and
I think
all these.
I think anything that's like a period piece, like that kind of thing. I'm not really all that interested in it.
All right, let's go.
Okay. Rock 102. Okay. Rock 102. Good morning. Who's this?
Hey, this is Zach from Agawam. How are you?
Good, Zach. What's up?
I was going to say, and I was just coming from a guy who, Seinfeld would be the number one, to me. I mean, Seinfeld would be the number one TV series of all time.
I get you.
Followed by The Sopranos. But what I was going to say is the first season of True Detective.
Oh, my God.
Starring
You're right.
Woody Harrelson.
I've never seen that either.
That is insane. It's so worth watching, and it's captivating.
You know what?
But I can't.
That's a really good point, because there have been other seasons since that first one, and the Matthew McConaughey, Woody Harrelson one is if you watch no other season, the acting in that one is unfreaking believable. I agree with you.
Matthew McConaughey. It was so good I couldn't watch any of the other seasons because that one just put the others to shame. I heard that season 3 is decent. But I tried season 2. It was terrible. But that first season, Steve, if you haven't seen it, it's
all right.
It's really good.
I'll have to give that one a try, too.
That is a good one. Good call on that one. Rock 102. Good morning. Who's this?
This is Nick.
Hey, Nick. What's up?
All right. If you need an epic TV show to binge watch, you need to binge watch Firefly, okay? It's not even going to take you very long. There's only one season. That's all I got.
Firefly.
Change my mind.
All right. I'll have to check that one out, too.
Okay. Rock 102. Good morning. Who's this?
Hey, good morning, guys. It's Brian. How are you?
Good, Brian.
Hey, I just wanted to throw out Rescue Me. It was probably one of the most epic shows I ever watched.
What is it?
Rescue Me.
I watched that.
Me.
That was what, this is what happened. Because before I had kids, I finished watching that. I think it ended like 6 months after my daughter was born. But I had watched that entire series. That was a pretty great series.
Yeah, I had all the DVDs. I used to watch that out on the road and everything. I've watched it a few times. There's things you'll pick up that you missed and so on and so forth.
DVDs. Okay, Mr. 20th Century, whatever.
Hey, I am the epitome of classic.
Yeah. Why don't you match that up with your touch-tone phone?
That's right. Yeah. Flip phone and everything.
Yeah. Flip phone. Whoa, wow. Roll out the red carpet. Here we go.
Okay. Rock 102. Good morning. Who's this?
It's Mike from Connecticut.
What's up, Mike?
Animal Kingdom.
Animal Kingdom.
Now, who's in that?
I don't even know any of the names, but it's a dysfunctional crime family, California. Dysfunctional doesn't even really describe the family. But,
all right. I thought you were recommending like a kids' TV show. Like, have you seen
yeah,
all
you would think, but that's not it.
Have you seen all the Reading Rainbows?
I have. They're fantastic.
Yeah,
they're so good.
They're
It's
amazing.
just a little different.
Yeah, that LeVar Burton. He knows what he's doing.
He was so good in Roots,
Yeah,
but look what he turned
lot of guns
into.
and fire. So not a theme park.
All right. Thanks for
All
the
right,
call.
thanks.
Appreciate it. Rock 102. Good morning. Who's this?
Hi, this is Ed.
What's up, Ed?
I just want to recommend The Wire.
That is a good one.
Yeah.
That is a good one. All right. Good call.
What-
Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Rock 102. Good morning. Who's this?
Yeah, this is Mickey from Chicopee.
What's up, Mick?
Hey, how about House? You ever watch House?
Yeah, I did, and I couldn't really get into it. He was that character really bothered me so much to the point where sometimes when characters bother me, I really like it. The show, like on The Sopranos, Christopher is the one I think is, and Paulie are two of the most annoying characters. But to me, that's good acting to me.
See, to me, Paulie's like between Paulie and Uncle Junior, the two best characters in the show.
But they're annoying.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the little ticks and the tricks, but I couldn't really get into House that much. It was seemingly, I don't know, it wasn't realistic enough.
Yeah, it ends up getting a lot better. I mean, other than that, what about American Horror Story?
It totally depends on the season. There have been some that were great, and then some that were kind of like, I'm kind of over it.
Yeah, that's true. Yep, the first one was the best, but
I'll tell you two that I really did like though. Loved Ray Donovan. That was a good series. That was real good.
Oh, somebody recommended that on the.
yeah, never seen that.
That's awesome, and also Homeland. That's
okay. Yeah.
with Claire Danes and Mandy Patinkin. Another great show.
Yeah. That's all I got, man.
All right. Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.
All right. Let's take one more here.
Yeah, there we go.
Rock 102. Good morning. Who's this?
Hello.
Okay. I appreciate that. Rock 102. Good morning. Who's this?
Good morning. It's Jerry. I highly recommend you watch the documentary of Rick Loretta.
Rick Loretto. Which one is that?
He's the legend from Springfield.
Okay. All right. We'll look that up.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you.
What?
I
that?
had no idea. Rock 102. Good morning. Who's this?
Hey, this is Matt from Westfield.
Hey, Matt. What's up?
Hey, a good show that I should recommend is Ozark.
That is good. Ozark is good.
I've heard about that too. I heard that was pretty good.
Yeah. No, it is pretty. And you know what? All seasons are actually pretty decent.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Ozark.
That's a good one.
All right.
All right.
There we go.
Appreciate it. There you go. You want to take a couple more?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay.
What do we got going on?
Nothing. Rock 102. Good morning. Who's this?
Hey, good morning, guys. This is Dan from Connecticut.
What's up, Dan?
All right. So we recently started rewatching Sons of Anarchy, which we watched on TV start to finish. And pretty great series, great storylines, a lot of action. Probably something you don't want to watch with the kids around. But you mentioned watching something again like The Sopranos and all the stuff that you pick up on. I can't believe how much stuff I missed the first time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was watching, it was the final season, those final extra 6 episodes that they had made, and I was like, I don't remember this being part of the plot line.
I know.
I can't think of an example immediately off the top of my head, but
there's a number of them.
There's enough of the stuff going on. I didn't even realize that was part of the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we appreciate the call.
Stays true.
All right, thank
All right,
you.
thanks.
All right.
All right, well, there you go. I guess I got some watching to do and lots of Peloton riding.
It's 8:21 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. And ZZ Top at Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Dan Brown will have the full forecast for you.
Hey, join Steve and the Road Crew this Friday night from 6:30 to 8:30 at Free Music Friday at the Aria Ballroom at MGM. This week, Changes in Latitudes, America's premier Jimmy Buffett show, will be performing. All you parrot heads looking for something to do, this is the night. Stop by the Rock 102 table. Register for your chance to win some cool prizes. That's this Friday, 6:30 to 8:30, with Changes in Latitude with Steve and the road crew at the Aria Ballroom at MGM from Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock.
That'll be fun.
That'll be a great time.
I'm looking forward to that. Again, another night getting out downtown Springfield.
You've been getting out a lot lately.
I've been getting out enough. I really, like last week, I told you, I didn't have any plans last week.
Yeah.
I had I was doing that bartending thing last Wednesday down here at the East Village Tavern. That was busy. That was incredibly busy.
Yeah.
And then we had the show at the Shortstop on Thursday night. That was a packed house for that one. And then I wound up because somebody had a family emergency. They called Steve Nagle. I'm like the guy you call on an emergency.
See, it's funny that we even talk about this because, like yesterday, Jenny and I were driving somewhere. She said, "Remember when we used to like we would go out all the time and that was like really fun for us?" I said, "Yeah." She says, "Yeah, I'm not so into that anymore." She says, "I think I'm over that." And I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of over that too. Although we went out to dinner with some friends this week and that was fun.
Yeah.
And
what time was the dinner though? See, this is how you can tell you're getting older. What time was it? Come on.
We met at Perfumes in Wilbraham at 4:30.
Yeah. 4:30 dinner.
Yeah, but we stayed till 6:30.
Oh,
which is a late night.
Whoa,
late night.
Whoa.
Had to lie down after something like that.
You know, I do have to admit something that I did.
What'd you do?
Which I kind of regret now. I went to an Applebee's.
On a dare?
Well, I was hanging out with a friend of mine, and him and I decided we wanted to go get something to eat on Thursday night. And, of course, I didn't have to be at work the next day. So I'm like, yeah, sure, what the hell. We went to Applebee's out in Westfield.
And?
You know, there's half-price appetizers from 9 to midnight. And if you know what you do? You got to, like, just order around the diarrhea. Like
just order from the diarrhea-adjacent menu items.
I went the Safeway, and I had pretzels, and I had some boneless chicken wings.
Oh, boy.
Which you really, I mean, they weren't that great. But here's the thing. I'm also getting, you're talking about having dinner at 4:30 in the afternoon. I'm taking salt off the pretzels before I eat them.
Because you're worried about the sodium.
The sodium and the blood pressure.
Oh,
and I'm sitting there, and my buddy's watching me, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "This is going to be horrible for my blood pressure if I have too much of this." So I'm like basically eating a saltless pretzel.
Yeah.
While I dip it in the 5,000 milligram full of sodium cheese dip.
But that's different. That's different. You don't need the extra sodium.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, right.
You're trying to watch out for your health. But, yeah.
Listen, if there were more places open at 3:30 in the afternoon for dinner, we would be there.
And then and I know what some people will say. They're like, well, you broke your thing because, I would say I'm never going to eat at an Applebee's. I'm never going to pay for an Applebee's, so I made him pay. See, this is how you get around things.
Yeah,
you get around a boycott
good call.
By just having somebody else pay for it.
It's 8:33. News is next to Rock 102.
Now by Xfinity. Internet, mobile, and TV that feels just right. Just like driving past an expensive coffee shop as you sip your homemade latte. Like waiting to use a promo code for 50% off on your sister's birthday present. Like snagging limited edition sneakers before they hit the resale market. Like getting concert tickets pre-sale before online brokers raise the price. That's the feeling you get with Now Internet. Dependable internet with no annual contracts, unlimited data, and equipment included. Internet just right for endless video calls, streaming every season of that show you're obsessed with, and staying connected on multiple devices. Internet that's just what you want and nothing you don't. Backed by the Xfinity Network. Get Now Internet starting at $30 a month all in. Easy, simple, flexible. All for one low price. Now by Xfinity. It's just right. Restrictions apply. Speeds up to 100 megabits per second. Actual speeds vary. Pricing subject to change.
8:36 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. It's time for news. Here's local radio icon Steve Nagle.
Thanks, Bax. Did you ever drive the wrong way on a highway before?
No.
Well, you haven't lived yet.
I mean, I've driven the wrong way down a one-way street, but I corrected my error right away.
But by accident, and you weren't under the influence.
No.
That's the big difference.
No, I most of my calamities behind the wheel have been done sober.
Connecticut State Police arrested a Springfield woman on Friday for driving on the wrong side of the road in Hartford and operating a vehicle under the influence. Police said that at around 2:17 a.m. on Friday, dispatchers received multiple 911 calls regarding a red Hyundai SUV driving the wrong direction on Route 5 or 15, whichever one you want to call it that day, and on to I-84 in Hartford. The vehicle was reportedly driving north in the southbound lanes of the highway and east in the westbound lanes of I-84. Troopers arrived at the reported location but did not find the vehicle, assuming the operator exited the highway or is now driving in the correct direction. State police located the vehicle while driving along the area of I-384 in Manchester. You know, why has nobody at these GPS companies figured out? You know how they when you listen into a cockpit of an airplane,
yeah,
and you can hear the thing go, pull up. You know, it's like this major alert, like you're gonna hit the mountain if you don't pull the plane up.
Right.
Why don't they have the audible alert saying you're going the wrong way?
I don't know if that's one of those factory installed things yet. I know, like in my car, if I'm fading in and out of the lane, I get a notification, hey, you're drifting, or like I might want to brake. It's one of those things.
You're drifting? What are you doing street races now?
I think it's to prevent you from falling asleep at the wheel.
Oh.
So it'll be like a vibration in the steering wheel that alerts you that, hey, wake up.
Oh, I thought you had the Fast and Furious version of your car.
No.
You're drifting, dude.
No, I'm not. It's not a Paul Walker type of thing.
You're not doing spin outs in the middle of the street?
Oh, not usually,
Waiting
no.
to hit a crowd of people?
No, that's not my bag.
Anyway, the person that was arrested was 24-year-old Nyeza Battle of Springfield. She's battling many demons.
Yeah.
Right now. She said she was not from Connecticut and was following the GPS on her phone, and she said it's all the GPS's fault. Of course, they observed slurred speech and a strong alcoholic odor coming from her person. She had a person with her?
Where's that smell coming from? It's coming from my person.
Who's your person?
You're looking at him.
My imaginary friend.
I'm not the one who's drunk.
Yeah.
It's my imaginary friend.
Listen, I'm dealing with many battles here. Battle's vehicle also had a flat tire on the front passenger side, as well as a large amount of mud on the side, which indicated she had driven off the road at one point.
There's like a lot of Baja four-wheeling going on between Springfield and Manchester.
Yeah, she was asked to perform a standardized field sobriety test, which she failed, surprisingly.
I can't believe this.
I can't imagine somebody driving the wrong way down the highway with three wheels and mud on the tires, being under the influence of anything.
And then being asked to answer questions about it.
You could just be a really adventurous person. You ever see those Jeep commercials where they're telling a guy to go on the Jeep, you know? A search warrant executed in Bridgeport led to the arrest of 3 people. State police say the search warrant executed at a home on Noble Avenue in Bridgeport back on February 18th. We're catching up with the news we missed out on.
Right.
They say a previous investigation into the sale of narcotics, specifically of fentanyl and crack cocaine, at the home led to the search warrant. When police arrived, they found 29-year-old Jesus Albir Brito incarceration.
Incarceration?
It's Encarnacion, but it looks like incarceration.
Well, that's what they're calling him today.
Acting as a lookout in the alley alongside the home, when detained, he was found to have 2 wax folds containing a white powdery substance and two-way portable radio. While executing the search warrant, police found 42-year-old Jennifer Lopez.
Come on!
What?
Get out of here!
And 37-year-old Daniel Rivera in the basement of the home. They were operating a drug factory. Again, with the Willy Wonka drug factory.
Did someone win the golden ticket?
I don't know, but you know what? I've been really following that subreddit on Reddit of Grandpa Joe hate. Have you been following that?
Yes, I have.
There's so much hate for that man.
What the hell?
What if there's a Grandpa Joe in the drug factory here? Charlie, you got methamphetamine and fentanyl.
What the hell did I see the other day? There was a video of him, Jack Albertson, Grandpa Joe, singing a song. I can't remember what it was, but it's like a popular song of the time. So it must have been like a song from the 70s, like a rock song, but singing it like, real dramatically. And the caption was, this guy's got enough energy to sing a rock song, but he doesn't have energy to get out of bed for 20 years to take care of his family.
Well, I mean, listen, if your daughter's sitting there cooking your cabbage soup all day long, what's the point in getting out of bed?
I haven't felt this good in 20 years.
And somebody else pointed out in that subreddit that place must have stunk to high hell. Cabbage soup every single day,
and 4 elderly people bedridden.
Yeah, and where? I know Charlie had a bed, but where was that adjacent to the 4 that were sitting in the middle of the room?
I don't know.
And where did his mother sleep?
Good question.
I didn't see that bed.
No.
There's some strange stuff going on in that household.
Yeah.
I'm surprised DCF never showed up to have all these people in the enclosure, in such close quarters.
Considering what would what benefits they could have taken advantage of. I mean, many elderly housing facilities are based on financial need.
That's right.
These four layabouts probably hadn't made money in years.
You lazy bastards.
Freeloaders.
All right, we got actual food coming in here, so we got to cut this
wrap
off.
it up.
It's 33 in downtown Springfield. I'm Steve Nagle, and that's the news on Rock 102.
Got a house with too many headaches? Oh, yeah. Worried about expensive
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 8:50 in Nirvana with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Mix of sun and clouds with a high of 45. It's 33 right now in downtown Springfield.
Didn't I just say a few months ago that what we needed not only was the coffee maker, but we needed regular charcuterie delivered here to the Rock 102 studio?
We absolutely need more charcuterie here.
Well, then today was our lucky day. I don't know how we got so lucky, but Tony Long and John Eaton from Tribeca Gastro Bar in Westfield are here. Guys, good to see you.
That's not John Eaton. That's our executive chef, Patrice Mercer.
Okay, well, thank you.
Way to go, ad department.
Patrice, good to see you.
We get all the good
Nice to meet you
information
guys.
down here. Listen, the charcuterie is better than our preparation for this interview.
No kidding.
It's what made us a little bit late, actually, because we had to get to the restaurant and make a nice, fresh charcuterie
You
board
did a
for
beautiful. You did a beautiful job. Tell me what you got on there, because oh my God, that's so good.
This is all you, chef.
So we got 4 different cheeses. We have a blue cheese, a soft rind cheese from the New York area, and a Tremor truffle goat cheese. And the one that Steve's prefer is the smoked chili cheddar.
Smoked chili
so
cheddar.
good.
It's like it's a little kick to it. It's a kind of tingle in the mouth. I like that cheese when it's like that.
It's like dancing down your throat. Is what it's doing.
Would you say it's like unicorns frolicking on your tongue?
Exactly what's going on. Yes,
that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Can we use that? Can we put that in our next ad?
Go right ahead.
Yeah,
it's out there. It's
On
the
your
world's
tongue.
now.
Hey, listen, I stole it from him. He probably stole it from somebody
We're
else.
stealing it from you.
Just steal it from you. But you guys, how long you been down there now in downtown?
So we just
Westfield?
opened August 30th. We're the new kids on the block.
And I was telling you off the air, I'm glad you guys did something with that building, that Bentley Billiards building that had been vacant for at least, 18, 19 years, I think?
Just over 15, vacant, sitting there, really, really close to maybe even being torn down. It was in real bad shape. And the efforts of a lot of committed, passionate people saved that building. We're just happy to be a small part of that. But a beautiful, beautiful, important historic building to downtown Westfield.
I was telling you before we went on the air, a mutual friend of ours texted my wife and I last night. Said, "Oh, you got to come down to Tribeca." And we said, "Is it good?" We were twice in one day. Like, if you're going to go to a place twice in one day, it better damn well be fantastic.
We've been very fortunate. We surrounded ourselves, including with Chef, with some real passionate, dedicated industry professionals. And I always say it's easy for me to get people in there, but it's up to my staff to get them back. And they all perform well beyond what we could have imagined.
Yeah, it's quite the place you got down there. People are talking about it. People are going week after week. I keep seeing the pictures on social media of all the different meals you got there.
But it's also part of kind of like a renaissance for Westfield, too.
Westfield is the place to be. It is the new happening spot of Western Mass. And we really believe 25 is going to be the year of Westfield. There are so many different community groups, whether it's the Chamber, the small business merchants, the Artworks Westfield on weekends. There's so much to see and do in Westfield besides all of our dining options, Stanley Park, Amelia Park, our baseball team. And it's really, I think it's one of those really hidden gems of Western Mass that's going to come into its own this year.
And you mentioned the Artworks Westfield. That's one of the things that you guys are going to be a huge part of this year.
Sure, we're happy to sponsor finally this year their downtown concert series.
Now these are different. That's one of the things that they do. But then there's all these other art shows, and there's it's not a farmers market, isn't that they do?
So there is a farmers market in Westfield. Artworks does. I guess you could relate them as farmers markets for artists, where several times a year throughout the Elm Street, the new cultural district, there are just dozens and dozens of different artists, whether it's painters or writers or pottery, and they just set up booths on Elm Street.
No, this is so when I first moved into the area, this is like 1995, I moved into Westfield. There was no cultural district other than the Walmart. And that's about as much culture as existed back in the mid-'90s. But, I mean, the last couple of times I've been through town, it's like, wow, why couldn't this have been here 30 years ago?
Well, I'll tell you, we wouldn't and we couldn't have done this project in Westfield 10 years ago. It's the efforts and the work of all these people, from government to these private sector people and the artists that have made Westfield what it is. That when me and my partner, John Eaton, who's not here, he's probably still in bed, when we were looking for the right community, hands down, Westfield was the place to be.
Well, plus the revamping that the downtown had done with the facades and the sidewalks and what they call it the gaslight district. Is that what it is?
Which is now
is not somebody standing there gaslighting you. It's to remember the old gaslight.
Yeah, that's more of an East Hampton thing.
Yeah. You'll get that in East Hampton for sure.
No, I told you guys not going down these rabbit holes.
But like you said, you couldn't have done that 10 years ago.
Absolutely
because,
not.
None of this stuff was done. But now that the things are popping up, I think we need a strip club and we need a pawn shop right on that main drag there. I think that'll liven things up. Right in the center of town.
I would love to see more live entertainment.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that what you're proposing might be the right one for Westfield, but we do have live concerts on downtown every Friday.
I was going to say amateur night at the Gastro Bar. That could be a dream.
No.
That could be somebody's dream out
so
there.
That's why you were dancing in Westfield.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Well, this is great. I'm glad you guys came in, and congratulations on the Tribeca Gastro Bar and Grill. People are raving about it. Patrice, great to have you here.
Thank you very much.
The charcuterie is fantastic.
I'm glad you like it. I'm glad you like the figs.
We love figs.
I love
Who
figs.
doesn't
I like
love a
fig
good
pouches.
fig?
Yeah.
Do you have any pouches to put the figs into?
Check us out online, TribecaWestfield.com, Facebook, Instagram. See us at the Friday night concerts downtown starting in June.
Awesome, guys. Thanks so much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Bax and Nagle at Rock 102.
Rock 102 is the expert of all things classic rock. Pool Construction are the